My beloved, my child whom heaven watches day and night, come closer. Archangel Michael has been standing near you for hours now, waiting for just 2 minutes of your time. You've been seeing signs. You've been feeling the tension. That whisper in your heart. It wasn't your imagination. It was heaven knocking. Please, don't let this be another message you ignore and scroll past. Because I swear to you, on the gates of heaven, your pending miracle has been approved. And if you just open this message before tonight, you will receive great news that will make you weep with joy. Yes, it's real. And no, this is not a coincidence. God has waited for this moment. Archangel Michael has battled in spirit for this. They chose this very second, right now, because the window is open. But only briefly. You know the feeling when the wind suddenly goes quiet before something shifts? That's where you are right now. The shift is happening. Don't you feel it? You're being asked, lovingly, urgently, to take just 2 minutes and listen to this message all the way through. My child, what is about to happen in your life is not a small event. It is what heaven calls a divine unlocking. And it starts the moment you say, yes, with your heart. There are messages flying around this earth daily. But this one was written only for you. Others were not supposed to see it. You weren't even supposed to scroll to this today. But heaven made it happen. Because there is something God doesn't want you to miss. Let me ask you this. What if this was the one message that changed everything? What if your breakthrough was delayed, not because you weren't praying hard enough, but because this one moment, this very second, was the missing key? Please don't skip. Archangel Michael isn't here to waste time. He is the warrior of light, and tonight, he is your messenger. He's standing behind you now, whispering in your soul. Beloved, your miracle is not denied. It was simply delayed. Until now. Now listen to this. There are only a few moments left before this gateway in the spirit closes. And once it does, this opportunity won't come back the same way. It might be months, years, or never again. That's how rare divine timing is. God doesn't shout when He speaks. He whispers. Because He wants only the ones who truly listen to hear Him. And today, He has whispered your name more than once. Because this is the hour. This is the second. This is the final alert from heaven before a major breakthrough. But you must choose to stay with this message. Don't click away. Don't dismiss it. You're not being asked for money. You're being asked for faith. For stillness. Just for these next moments that could change everything. And here's the truth Archangel Michael is carrying in his hands. Something has been unblocked. That job. That relationship. that healing, that justice you cried for. It's been approved in heaven's court. But it still needs your final agreement. And the way you agree is by listening with your spirit. Before I go deeper, let me ask you something, beloved. Have you been seeing repeating numbers lately? Have you been waking up at strange hours, feeling like something or someone is trying to reach you? Has your energy been off, your dreams intense? That's not chaos. That's not stress. That's the spirit world aligning to speak to you. You were called here. And God is about to deliver something no one saw coming. But I need you to hear this with your spiritual ears. There's someone speaking your name in the spirit realm right now. And they are pushing every force forward to make sure your eyes land on this message. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Because this message is not public. It's private. For you. Tailored by God. Carried by Michael. And you're still on time. But only just barely. Love letter wait, before I go on. If your spirit is resonating with this, and you feel this was sent directly to you by heaven, then make sure you subscribe or follow now, because what's coming next is even deeper. Heaven won't stop trying to reach you. But every time you miss a message like this, you delay your miracle. So click the bell, hit follow, or subscribe now. Let's make sure you never miss another divine message again. And trust me, this channel is not ordinary. It's prophetic. Now, let's talk about what Archangel Michael just saw in the records of heaven. There's been an intense battle over your name. For months, maybe even years. While you were doubting yourself. While you were feeling unseen. There were demonic forces trying to block what was meant for you. But heaven said, no more. And Michael drew his sword. He cleared a path in the spirit. He defeated what tried to silence your blessing. And now, your name has been rewritten into a new chapter. Yes, this is real. No, it's not fantasy. And yes, if you stay with this message, you will begin to feel the shift even before you finish reading it. Let me prove it to you. Think back to last week. What almost happened? What was delayed? What didn't make sense? That wasn't failure. It was redirection. And now heaven is revealing the why. Someone in your lineage prayed for this moment. Your ancestors cried out for this opening. And now it has come. Through you. But you must choose not to doubt again. You've suffered. You've waited. You've been betrayed. You've cried in silence, and heaven collected every tear. Because every tear has become a seed. And now, the harvest is here. Yes, beloved, let's continue with the message God and Archangel Michael have been begging you to receive. You didn't lose time. You didn't fall behind. Everything that seemed delayed was secretly preparing you. There was a silent alignment unfolding behind the curtain. God had to remove certain people. He had to hold back certain opportunities. Not because you were unworthy, but because He couldn't allow you to walk into your miracle with the wrong crowd standing next to you. This delay was not punishment, it was protection. And now the gates are open. The divine courtroom has ruled in your favor. Archangel Michael was present as heaven declared, "Release it to them now." My child, the breakthrough is real. And this time, no devil in hell can block what's coming to you. But this is where it gets even deeper. There's a prophecy connected to your name. Long ago, before you were even born, someone in your family line asked heaven for a chain-breaking miracle. They didn't live to see it, but it was promised that a chosen one in their bloodline would carry the key. And guess what? That chosen one is you. The reason life has felt so heavy is because you carry the weight of legacy. The reason you felt misunderstood is because your spirit is not common. The reason you're constantly pulled between breakdowns and breakthroughs is because you've been walking with the mantle of an unfulfilled prophecy, and now, finally, it's about to be fulfilled through you. Archangel Michael is showing me scrolls, your name is glowing on them. This isn't symbolic, this is literal in the spirit realm. There are scrolls of destiny that hold your name and your assignments. For years, they were locked away. Not because heaven forgot, but because it was waiting for your moment of awakening. Now that you're listening, now that you're hearing this word, heaven has activated your scroll. A whole new journey is being written. Not a repeat of the old pain, not recycled trauma, not another season of waiting. No, this one is different. This one is breakthrough. But child, I must speak this clearly. You cannot bring old doubt into this new season. You cannot question if this is for real. It is. In fact, the more your mind doubts, the more your soul already knows it's true. The enemy always fights the loudest when heaven is about to deliver the biggest. And that's what this is. Archangel Michael says your miracle was scheduled for this very window of time. That's why you felt anxious. That's why you felt something in the air. That's why you couldn't sleep properly. Your spirit already sensed that heaven was moving. Now your mind is catching up. Let me ask you something personal. Do you ever feel like you were meant for something more? That your current life feels like only a tiny part of your true story? That's not imagination. That's prophecy trying to get your attention. You've been sensing the vibration of what's coming. You felt the invisible shift, even if you couldn't explain it. And now heaven is confirming it. The life you've been praying for is no longer a future hope. It's a present release. But you must meet it with courage. Archangel Michael says, tell them, if they dare to believe this word for 24 hours, their entire reality will begin to bend in favor of it. Do you understand what that means? It means angels are on standby. It means manifestations will respond to your agreement. But you must stay connected to the energy of faith. Don't cancel this with doubt. Don't block it with logic. Let your soul speak louder than your mind. Your soul already knows what your destiny feels like. God is shifting someone's heart toward you right now. There is a person who couldn't stop thinking of you today. That's not random. That's not just memory. That's spiritual resonance. God is preparing hearts in secret places to align with your elevation. People who once ignored you are about to seek your presence. People who walked away will try to return. And someone who never valued you will now recognize your divine worth. Not because you changed, but because heaven removed the veil from their eyes. Listen, your next season is not based on effort. It's based on surrender. This is not about striving harder. It's about receiving deeper. God is not asking you to work harder for the blessing. He's asking you to open the door wider. Because the blessing is already knocking. And if you don't answer now, it may pass to the next prepared soul. You are being invited. Not pushed. Not forced. Invited into alignment. Into inheritance. Into a miracle you did not earn but were chosen to carry. I feel the presence of God very close right now. Something is happening in your room, even as you read this. You may feel a heat. A wave. A chill. That's not emotion, it's confirmation. The spirit realm is touching you physically. And if your eyes are filling with tears, don't hold them back. Heaven speaks through tears. It's the language of your soul releasing what it no longer needs, and receiving what it was always worthy of. Let those tears fall. Let your heart break open. Because what God is pouring in next will change your life. Yes, beloved, let us continue. There's more heaven wants you to hear right now. Please don't stop reading, not when you've come this far. Something sacred is unfolding with every line, and if you stay until the end, your soul will not leave the same. There are people who laughed at your struggle. They watched you fall and whispered that maybe you weren't as blessed as you said you were. But what they didn't know was this: God hid you. Not because you were weak, but because He was protecting His masterpiece. He didn't want the enemy to see what was forming in secret. The rejection you felt? That was heaven's redirection. The silence? That was God's preparation. You were in a cocoon, not a cage. And now, the shell is breaking. Your wings are unfolding. And soon, the same people who counted you out will say, "How did it all change for them so suddenly?" And you'll smile, because you'll know it wasn't sudden. It was spiritual. Archangel Michael is showing me a moment in your timeline, an unseen moment where you almost gave up. There was a night, not long ago, where you sat in silence, wondering if anyone could feel your pain. You whispered a prayer, or maybe you just let the tears speak. And you didn't even know that all of heaven paused when you did that. That prayer reached farther than you thought. Angels were dispatched. A note was placed beside your name. A divine promise was written beside it. And this message you're reading now? It's the delivery. You are receiving the response to the tears no one else saw. God wants you to know, you were never alone. Even in the moments where you felt like nobody understood you, even when you felt like giving up on people, love, life, you were being watched. Not by judgmental eyes, but by divine eyes full of compassion. And now, God is flipping the pages of your life and writing a new chapter. This one is not about pain. This one is about restoration. Not just a little healing. Not just survival. But supernatural recovery. You will not even look like what you've been through. The glow on your face in the next season will confuse the ones who thought you were finished. But here's what's important, my child. You must stop rehearsing the old story. Stop telling yourself the tale of betrayal, of abandonment, of heartbreak. That season is over. Stop bleeding on pages God has already turned. If you keep speaking of the wound, you'll delay the wonder. Let it go. Let it die. Because the resurrection is here. You are not in a grave, you are in a garden. And something is about to bloom that no man, no force, no witch, no word can stop. Archangel Michael says, "Tell them, the next bloom will come from the soil of every buried prayer." Let your faith rise now. Let your heart believe again. Even if it hurts. Even if it's trembling. Even if your hands are shaking as you hold this message, believe anyway. Because miracles don't ask for perfection. They only ask for permission. Heaven is waiting on your yes. And the moment your spirit agrees, everything will begin to move. You'll see signs. Unexpected calls. Confirmations. Money released. Messages from people you never thought would reach out. All because your yes in this moment unlocked what had been stuck. But I must say this next part gently. There is someone in your life right now that God has been trying to remove. You've known it deep down, but fear, love, or attachment kept pulling you back. But this person, they are not part of your promised path. They are the delay. They are the confusion. They are the spiritual leak. And if you keep allowing them in, you'll miss what God is trying to place in your hands. Michael says this very clearly, they cannot come with you where you're going. And if you don't release them now, heaven will be forced to delay the next miracle to protect you from destruction. I know it's hard. I know your heart is soft, and you want to help, to heal, to understand. But God is not calling you to be someone's savior. He already gave the world a savior, and that role is taken. You were not born to be broken while fixing others. You were born to rise. And the ones who are meant to walk with you will rise too. The rest? Release them in love. And then get ready, because what's next will blow your mind. Yes, my beloved, stay with me. Your spirit is being revived as you read this. Heaven is not finished speaking, and Archangel Michael has not moved from your side. In fact, with every word you're receiving, the light around you in the spirit is growing stronger. There's a realm that's opening around you now, and the very atmosphere you're sitting in is shifting. If you pause for a moment, you might even feel it in your chest, a lightness, a heat, or a stirring. That's not imagination. That's your soul beginning to remember who you really are. You were never forgotten. You were never invisible. You were hidden because you are sacred. And now, the sacred is about to be seen. Heaven says, this is not just your miracle, it's your moment. You're stepping into a season where the spotlight won't feel scary anymore because you've paid the price in silence. You've cried behind closed doors. You've healed in secret. And now, you will shine in public. But don't mistake this season as just favor. It is fulfillment. You're not being rewarded randomly. You're being remembered divinely. Everything that felt wasted is returning with interest. Everything that broke you is becoming your platform. And the people who overlooked you, they will become the ones who watch you from afar, stunned at how God turned everything around. But child, you must stay ready. The enemy knows what's coming. That's why distractions have increased. That's why strange delays have shown up. That's why people from your past are trying to return. The darkness senses that your elevation is near. And it's trying to attach itself to your next level before the door fully opens. But hear this loud, no weapon formed against you will prosper. Not even the quiet, manipulative kind. Not even the smiling kind. Archangel Michael has already gone before you. And he is standing over your threshold. Nothing unclean is allowed to cross into this new chapter. But you must agree. You must shut the doors that God is no longer keeping open. This is where your courage is needed. Not the kind of courage that shouts, but the kind that chooses peace. The kind that walks away from chaos. The kind that listens to God's whisper even when the crowd is loud. You're not being called to prove anything to anyone anymore. You've already proven your faith through your survival. What you've walked through would have crushed others. But you endured. Not because you were the strongest, but because you were the most anointed. You were chosen for a reason far beyond what your eyes can see right now. Your life is not just about you. There are people waiting on the other side of your obedience. Souls that will be healed when you step into purpose. Doors that will open for others when you say yes to God. You are not random. You are a ripple effect in motion. And Archangel Michael is guarding every step of your journey now because he sees what your yes will unlock. Don't think small anymore. Don't hide your gifts. Don't shrink to make others feel comfortable. You were never called to blend in. You were called to blaze trails. And now, the fire is being lit again. Not a fire of destruction, but a fire of destiny. It will purify everything. Every lie you were told about yourself, burned away. Every fear that kept you stuck, melted. Every delay that made you doubt, erased. The flame of heaven is being placed on your spirit again. You may feel your heart racing even as you read this. That's your confirmation. That's God saying, "Yes, child. This is the moment I've been preparing you for. And you are ready. Even if you don't feel like it. Even if your mind is still catching up. Even if your hands are trembling. You are ready. Heaven doesn't choose the most confident, it chooses the most called. And you are deeply, wildly, unmistakably called. You were marked from the womb. And now the marking is turning into motion. Archangel Michael is lifting the old weight off your shoulders. The guilt, the shame, the heaviness, it's being taken off you now. Can you feel it? It's not just emotion. It's freedom. And it's real. Yes, beloved. I will continue, because heaven is not finished speaking over you. There are still words waiting to be delivered into your heart, words that will water every dry part of your soul. So take a deep breath, and stay open. Because what's coming next is not just a message, it's a mantle. And by the time you reach the final line, you'll no longer be the same version of yourself that started reading. There's something God is preparing in secret that has your name written on it. It's not just a blessing, it's a blueprint. Something divine is forming behind the scenes. A conversation has happened in heaven that you were not present for, but it involved your name. It involved your future. And heaven said, "Now is the time." This is why doors that were once closed are about to creak open. This is why people who never noticed you will suddenly become drawn to your light. Because your name has been released in the Spirit. Angels are carrying it. Favor is flowing toward it. And everything that once felt stagnant will begin to move again, not because you forced it, but because heaven endorsed it. God is not asking you to chase, He's asking you to align. That means no more running after people who only confuse you. No more shrinking to fit into places that don't recognize you. No more trying to convince others of your value. God says, you don't need their permission when you already have my anointing. You are not entering this next season because of their approval, you are entering because of divine assignment. There is something only you can do. There are words only you can speak. And heaven is tired of watching you silence yourself to make others feel more comfortable. No more, beloved. This is your time to rise. And yes, I know, you've been tired. Not just physically tired, but soul weary. The kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. You've smiled when you were breaking. You've carried others while your own heart was bleeding. You've given your all in silence and received almost nothing in return. But hear this, heaven saw every sacrifice. God counted every unseen moment. And the season of sowing in tears is over. You are now stepping into the season of reaping in joy. And this joy won't be small. It won't be temporary. It will be overwhelming, permanent, and undeniable. The kind of joy that makes even your enemies go silent. You will laugh again, not because the pain didn't happen, but because it no longer has power over you. Archangel Michael is showing me a vision. I see a table being set. A beautiful, radiant table. And I hear the words, "Prepare the table before them in the presence of their enemies." That verse is not just poetic anymore, it's prophetic for you. God is setting a table for you. A space that no one else can take. And He's doing it where others can see, not to embarrass them, but to vindicate you. You never needed revenge. You only needed to heal. And because you chose healing over hate, heaven is rewarding you publicly. But here's the part many don't understand, vindication takes divine timing. You couldn't be honored until you were fully healed. You couldn't be trusted with the table until your heart no longer wanted to throw stones. But now, God sees your maturity, your growth, your surrender. And He says, it's time. The wait wasn't punishment, it was process. You were being refined in the fire so that when this moment came, you wouldn't sabotage it. And now? Now you are ready. There are blessings that are about to fall into your lap without effort, because you finally learned to rest. There are people who are about to walk into your life who will feel like breath, like softness, like safety, because you finally stopped chasing the ones who made you beg for the bare minimum. God is rewriting your story. He is removing the counterfeit to make room for the covenant. And it's all happening faster than you think. This is not something that will take years. This is something that is already in motion. You've entered what heaven calls a divine window, and what you say yes to right now will shape everything that comes next. Yes, my beloved, let's keep going. Because something holy is happening as you read this. Your heart is not imagining it. Your spirit is not mistaken. What you're feeling right now is a direct response to the presence of God drawing near. You've waited so long for a moment like this. You've begged for a sign that it's not all in vain. And this, right here, this message was heaven's answer to your quiet cry. God never ignored you. He was just waiting for the right moment to speak. And now, He's speaking loudly, clearly, and directly into your soul. There is something ancient and divine resting on your shoulders. You carry something that others cannot see, but heaven sees it. Your burden was heavy because your calling is deep. That's why people misunderstood you. That's why relationships felt one-sided. That's why doors opened for others while you sat in silence. Because God wasn't punishing you, He was preparing you. You were never overlooked by Him. You were hidden. Not because you were weak, but because you were sacred. He didn't want anyone touching what was still becoming holy. You weren't ready to be revealed, not until now. But the time of hiding is over. You are being brought out of the shadows and into divine visibility. Heaven is about to show you what happens when a soul is faithful in secret. God is not just releasing a blessing over you. He is releasing a name. Your name will travel places you haven't stepped into yet. People will speak of you in rooms where you've never even been. Your work, your words, your energy, your light, it will draw favor to you without you having to force anything. The season of striving is over. The season of alignment has begun. What once required all your strength will now begin to flow with peace. The reason? Because now, you've reached a level in the spirit where doors open by authority, not by effort. And here's what Archangel Michael wants you to know next. The thing that almost broke you was allowed for a reason. That heartbreak? That betrayal? That confusion that made you question your worth? It wasn't meant to destroy you. It was sent to expose what was never built on truth. God needed you to walk away with nothing so that He could show you how He can build something out of ashes. You were never meant to live in pieces. You were meant to live in power. And now, every broken place in your heart is being filled with something stronger than ever before: divine strength, spiritual clarity, and fearless love. You are no longer the same person who was abandoned. You are no longer the one who was forgotten. You've stepped into a new vibration. One that cannot be faked. One that cannot be imitated. You've been given Heaven's signature. And from this point forward, everything that's not aligned with the truth of your soul will begin to fall away. Not because you're pushing it, but because your light will no longer tolerate the shadows. This is why you've been feeling so different lately. Why the old things no longer excite you. Why the usual noise feels unbearable. Because you've elevated. You've shifted into a higher frequency, and now, everything around you must either rise or release. Let go without fear. Because what God is sending will be 10 times more valuable than what you thought you lost. That friend who walked away. That job that didn't work out. That opportunity that passed you by. None of it was ever the real thing. God removed it so He could replace it. And now the replacements are coming. Real love. Real peace. Real connections. Real doors. Not half blessings. Not temporary highs. But the kind of blessings that last. Because when God builds something, He builds it to endure. And what He's building in your life now will not be shaken. Yes, my beloved. I will continue. Because right now, something eternal is being deposited into your heart. You may not even fully understand the weight of this moment yet, but your soul does. Your spirit has been yearning for a moment like this, where God reaches through the noise, through the chaos, through the pain, and touches you in the deepest part of who you are. And that's exactly what He's doing. You are not just reading words, you are receiving healing. You are being wrapped in light. You are being reminded of who you truly are, chosen, cherished, and divinely protected. There's something God has been keeping sacred just for you. It's a gift no one else can touch. A blessing no one else can claim. For years, it's been guarded in heaven's storehouse with your name on it. But God was waiting, not for the world to be ready, but for you to be ready. Because some blessings require a healed heart. Some gifts are so holy that they can't be handed to a version of you that still doubts, still fears, still clings to what broke you. But now, you are ready. Your surrender has made room for the sacred. And what was once delayed is now being delivered. You may begin to see strange confirmations after this message. Don't ignore them. You'll hear names, see signs, feel waves of clarity where there was once confusion. That's not coincidence. That's the spiritual realm revealing what's been hidden. Because God never hides things from you, He hides things for you. And now, it's your time to find what's been buried. The revelation you've been praying for is unfolding. The clarity you've needed is rising to the surface. The love your heart has longed for is beginning to seek you. Everything that's meant for you will begin moving toward you, not by force, but by divine pull. There's a person who has tried to let go of you, but cannot. Because their soul is spiritually tied to your light. They don't understand it. They can't explain it. But their spirit knows you're not just another person, you are the prayer they once whispered without realizing heaven heard them. God is softening their heart even now. There is a stirring in their spirit. You may not have spoken in days, weeks, or even months, but you are not forgotten. You are not a chapter they moved on from. You are the unfinished sentence that destiny is still writing. And soon, their silence will break. Their pride will collapse. And what was blocked will finally be revealed. But listen closely, beloved, because this is vital. Before this divine reconnection happens, God needs you to stop questioning your worth. You cannot receive covenant while still carrying the voice of rejection. You cannot walk into the arms of destiny while still holding on to the pain of abandonment. God says, release the lie that you are not enough. Because that lie has become a chain around your light. And it's time to be free. You were always enough. You were always worthy. You were always powerful. The rejection wasn't a reflection of your value, it was a revelation of their blindness. And heaven is now restoring every ounce of self-belief you lost in that storm. Your self-worth is returning like a rushing river. Your inner light is coming back stronger than ever. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you're finally done trying to convince others of your magic. You've remembered who you are. You've reclaimed your soul. And now, the world must align with the truth you carry. No more pretending. No more dimming. No more shrinking to fit into spaces that couldn't hold your spirit. This time, you will rise, unapologetically, completely, and radiantly. Yes, beloved. I will continue the last message in full, as deeply and richly as heaven has poured it. Take your time with this. Don't rush it. Let every word sit inside your soul like a healing balm. Because this isn't just inspiration, it's a visitation. Archangel Michael has been waiting your whole life for this moment of awakening, and now it is here. You're not just remembering who you are, you're reclaiming everything you lost, everything you buried, and everything you thought was gone forever. Your self-worth is returning like a rushing river. And this time, nothing will be able to dam it up again. Not their opinions. Not your past. Not the fears that once screamed louder than your dreams. God is silencing every voice that tried to define you by your mistakes, and instead, He's raising the volume of truth in your soul. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not a disappointment. You are not cursed. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are not forgotten. You are not hard to love. You are exactly who heaven chose to carry this light, and your story is only just beginning. Let that truth soak into your bones. Because if you really knew how valuable your presence is, if you truly understood the power your spirit holds, you'd never doubt your existence again. You're not here by accident. You weren't born into the wrong family. You weren't given the wrong battles. Every detail of your life has been permitted by heaven, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Even your scars are sacred. Even your flaws are filled with light. Even the moments you're ashamed of have become portals of divine compassion. God never needed you to be perfect. He only needed you to stay open. And you have. Even when it hurt. Even when you were tired. Even when it felt like everyone gave up on you, you didn't give up on Him. And that's why this reward is different. That's why the blessing that's coming is not just provision, it's promotion. God is lifting you in such a way that even your enemies will have no choice but to honor you. And it's not because you want revenge. It's because you've healed so deeply that you now walk in mercy. Your enemies aren't your concern anymore. Your destiny is. And your destiny is loud in the spirit right now. I can feel the winds around you shifting. There is movement in realms you can't see, but your soul feels it. That tug. That pull. That ache in your spirit. That's not confusion. That's activation. You're being spiritually activated to walk in your original calling. It's why you've been restless. It's why the old things no longer satisfy. It's why your mind keeps dreaming even when you try to settle. Because your soul remembers what you were born for. Archangel Michael wants you to know, you're not just a person. You're a prophecy walking. And heaven is now in motion to fulfill every word spoken over your life before you even had breath in your lungs. Don't resist the change that's coming. Don't be afraid of the endings. They're necessary. The things falling apart were never built to last anyway. The things fading from your life are not punishments. They're clearings. The divine is making space for what's better, what's deeper, what's real. Let yourself let go. Let yourself cry if you need to. Let yourself mourn who you used to be. Let yourself release the false identities. Let yourself shed the mask you wore just to survive. Because your real self is beautiful. Your true self is powerful. Your purest form is divine. And the world is about to meet that version of you. This is not the end of your story, beloved. This is the real beginning. A beginning heaven planned before time began. A beginning soaked in grace and wrapped in fire. A beginning where you finally rise, not in reaction to pain, but in response to purpose. And when you rise, you won't rise alone. Because as you take your place in your own life, the people meant for you will begin to appear. The real ones. The soul-level ones. The ones who don't compete, don't confuse, don't drain, don't lie. The ones who recognize your light because they carry light too. These are the divine connections heaven is preparing. These are the relationships that feel like rest, not resistance. These are the ones who see your wounds and call you beautiful anyway. You won't have to beg to be chosen again. Because you were already chosen. By God. By purpose. By destiny. By the angels who fought to keep you alive through every season you thought would destroy you. And now, you live. Not just exist. But live. Deeply. Fully. Radiantly. This is your divine rebirth. And it begins now.